Hi everyone, I hope you're well this afternoon. I will try and keep it brief. I think I don't know if these slides can be shared at the end, because I've put stuff on the slides that might actually not be something that I'm going to focus on today, but it just gives you an overview of how our school got to the Gold Award with United Against Bullying. So I think it might be worth sharing these if you can at some point. I think it was important for us to consider bullying in our school. And I think when we get that Ofsted question about bullying, our initial reaction is to kind of panic and say, oh, it doesn't happen. But I think in order to get your reporting kind of in place accurately, is to actually admit to yourself, it can happen, and it does happen. And it's not that that's something to be ashamed of, because we can't control what the children do, but it's how we tackle it. And it's how we report it, and it's how we move forward from it. And we look at the questionnaires about what children are saying in their voice. And then from that, we change what we do in order to stop it and to prevent it from happening, and to become more proactive as opposed to reactive to anything that is happening in schools. So it's not that we're saying it doesn't happen, it's saying that we have an absolute zero tolerance to it. And it links in with lots of things that we do. So we kind of triangulate that with our work that we do through our Church of England with injustice, and work that we do through our Young Leaders Award in being courageous advocates. So taking action for now, but also so that our children are citizens for the, good moral citizens for the future as well. And yesterday we went to a church conference where our children spoke about being those courageous advocates, and like Miss O'Brien just spoke about, is having those anti-bullying ministers really at the forefront of everything, because they can be your pupil voice, but they also are in it from their perspective, and they're able to discuss with teachers and SLT and perhaps the Parliament lead what it is that actually children are looking for, what support it is that they need. And a lot of the time it's about having an outlet. It's about having someone really safe that they can go and talk to. So as we move through with the All Together, which was the previous programme, our bronze and our silver, we then moved on to working with the United Against Bullying programme to attain our gold award. And with that, we did have a look at tightening our reporting and responses to bullying incidents. And there are many ways in which we did it, but the first thing we did, as I mentioned, is we worked with Pupil Parliament to communicate ways in which children can report incidents. And so, like Miss O'Brien, they made a video which we shared in worship and posted it on our school website. We looked at our pupil and parent voice, which indicated a need for a system for pupils to share without face-to-face contact. So we listened to that, and we heard that our parents were saying, our children don't want to say anything, they don't feel they can say anything, and therefore we created an online wellbeing hub with a worry box where concerns are sent directly to our mental health and wellbeing anti-bullying lead, and that's followed up. Our worry boxes are implemented in classrooms in Key Stage 2 to allow children to record any concerns with their class teacher, and they are checked daily and followed up immediately. Because although we're saying we have a zero tolerance when it does happen, it's about how effective we are when it arises, if it arises. We obviously have our statutory safeguarding, child-on-child abuse training to ensure that we're aware of the signs of the bullying and abuse and what to do if incidents are reported or witnessed. We have our safeguarding newsletters, which are issued to our staff. And again, that's something that really does help and support our responses to bullying incidents. Our incidents are logged on our online register system, which we use as Scholar Pack. We are looking at CPOMs, which a lot of people use for their safeguarding, and again, it can be used for this as well. And a member of staff then is automatically informed. So we realised that actually we were finding that people weren't able to get to each other, and therefore this removed that completely, and we get a notification straight away. For staff that don't have access to these online portals, which we did recognise, so for example, our midday supervisors or our PE coaches, we introduced behaviour books, which have been provided to log concerns and incidents, and then on the same day they're passed to the head or myself to act upon. and a copy of that shared with the class teacher for their records. We monitor those incidents a lot, very regularly, and every half term we not only monitor them, but we look at the impact of our actions, and then we make adjustments as deemed necessary for those as well. We follow the ABA guidance, and so we have adopted the 3-step approach, which includes taking a restorative approach to resolve the situation. So it's involves supporting the perpetrators and the victims of the bullying to ensure that all pupils' needs can be met. And this might be through pastoral support, so we have ELSAs in our school, or something similar. We ensure that the message is communicated that it's not okay, and we reinforce this message through our Christian values of respect and our take care learning behaviours. And we do that throughout the academic year. It's the golden thread that runs through everything that we do, through our worships, through our classroom practice, through our curriculum. We use specific bullying incident sheets, which are designed to ensure that the member of staff collates all the evidence. So it's a really informative investigation, and that includes speaking to all parties. And then we make sure that there is a take action section as well. So we're encouraged to use SMART outcomes when completing the aspect of the form. So looking at small step actions to ensure that the incident is dealt with appropriately and can be measured for impact. We use time-bound goals, so that they're monitored and actioned appropriately to allow time and then feedback. And we discuss that with the parents as well, should they have needed to get involved. They're logged on our, again, these are logged on our ScholarPack system and monitored for trends and patterns. And we identified that at lunchtime incidents were more prevalent. And so we addressed this by putting a member of SLT on our rota, and they're on duty to reinforce behaviours and model this to the midday supervisors. So we also use our young leaders to support in sporting games, so lunchtimes are more structured, and we use our young leaders as playground pals as well. So if anybody is feeling like they need a buddy, or they haven't got anyone to play with, then they use a friendship start, and our playground pals go and support them there. All our incidents are shared with staff during staff meetings so that we can all be vigilant towards any behaviours that we're seeing, and take care sheets are used to monitor concerns and friendship issues, so that we are almost nipping anything that we hear bubbling in the bud straight away, so that it doesn't become a bullying incident. We reflect on these responses, and we think about 3 things. What can we learn? Do we need more staff training? And does our policies need updating and refreshing? And what actions do we need in order to for this to all be put in place? And then we act upon it. And pupil voice plays a really key role in improving practice. So we do our pupil surveys, but it's more about what we do from those. And then they're shared amongst staff and back with the pupils as well, which I think is really important, because what we're saying is, you have a voice, we hear it, and we're doing something about it. You are making a change, because a lot of our young leaders, what we say is, be the change that you want to see, take action, do something about what you feel strongly about and what you believe in. And it's really important for us then for them to see that being listened to and then put in place. And that all links with our pupil parliament. We've also got our wellbeing leads, and and we also looked at our Diana Award as well, to make sure that things were being fed back appropriately, minutes were being taken, and responses from the children and conversations that they were having were also being logged. So our wellbeing team create videos, and they also discuss really pertinent things that the girls might have problems with. So for example, in year 6, some of the girls discussed to the wellbeing ministers that they didn't feel that they had sanitary products readily available to them in toilets, and they were worried that if they had to ask, because they were kept in classrooms, that perhaps bullying would happen or they would be picked on. And so we heard that, we listened, and as part of that we have created little cupboards in their toilets for them. So just taking away that anxiety that was causing them to feel that there could be an issue in the future. And then we also seek outside agency support if we need it as well. So that's things like our ELSAs training, early help, our NSPCC, which we do some work with. They come in and do programs with the children, and also if required, our MASH team will also support. We also take part in our dart sessions, which also links to all of this anti-bullying, and it just builds a wider curriculum for the children on anti-bullying. It's not just Odd Socks Day, for example, these national events, it's everything that we tie into it. So that was a very quick whistle-stop tour of the kind of responses that we put in place, and also the reporting that we have in place. If there was anything in there that you sounded like, oh, I'd like to have a look at that form, or that seemed like something I want to hear more about, then please do ask, because we're more than happy to share anything. And we've got I think we've shared our website page. Is that in the chat, Jess? So we've shared our website in the chat, and that's our web page about anti-bullying. So a lot of our documents are on there, and we also have made a lot of our documents child friendly. So where we have our child abuse policy, we've also created that for a child friendly policy, so that we can share that with our children in a way that they understand. So again, if that's anything of interest, then please do let us know. And we do a lot of our curriculum work, as mentioned, with our children. So in response to their surveys, or in response to anything that comes up, we try and talk about injustice such a lot, and we talk about how we can be courageous advocates. And so part of our curriculum was looking at Mallory Blackman's Cloud Busting, and Year 5 wrote an anti-bullying poem with her as inspiration, and it was littered with figurative language and imagery, but I think it really does give you an idea of how the children perceive it and see it. And like I mentioned earlier, although we can't say it never happens, we can say we have a zero tolerance for it. So I'll just finish with that thing.
The bell rang, signalling my exit from a prison of desperation. Approaching the door cautiously, with my heart jumping into my throat, I sped through the corridor like a charging matador, only to be smacked away by a rampaging bull that is my bully. My legs screamed at me to run away, like a leaping kangaroo, like a wounded racehorse, like a galloping gazelle. I snatch my bag up with lightning speed and dash away, quivering as my heart stampedes in my chest. Then a minute passed by like eons, until finally the doors of hope and serenity creak open. I escaped with joy funneling through my chest.
Thank you for listening. If there's anything I can help, any questions, then do please ask.